Hey there, happy Friday, guys. I have been wanting to hop on and talk about an article that I came across. I'm not sure if you guys saw it on baby foods, and I'm pulling it up here because I'm going to link to it. Um, so this was this was just so disturbing to me. Like, oh my gosh. So this was a story that I saw on CNN, and it showed testing of baby food, and companies that we all know, like Gerber, Earth's Best Organic Baby Food, several others, knowingly sold baby food that contained high levels of toxic heavy metals, like levels that exceed what all the experts in the field say should be permissible. Um, there were only 5% of the baby foods tested that didn't have heavy metals. So they had arsenic, like 73% arsenic, 94% lead. And it just made me think, like, we're always questioning. And for me, and I think a lot of my colleagues, we know that it comes back to the food that we're feeding our kids, but we wonder why, like, ADHD is on the rise. Why are, some people say, oh, because there's more testing. No, no, it's the food that we're feeding our kids, it's the environment, it's so many of the things um, that I think we have control of. So, um, again, like ADHD, ODD, even autoimmune diseases, like autoimmune diseases are, skyrocketing, and especially with kids. And if you think about how fast a baby's brain is growing, their brains are just like rapidly, rapidly growing. And if they have, and babies can't detoxify like we can, they don't detoxify as easily as we do. And we really can't, there's not a ton that you can do as far as detoxing with babies until, or kids till they're about 3. And then we can do some gentle detoxing, and we can always be feeding them foods that help, of course. But some of the foods that I wanted to bring up, that it showed these high levels of like arsenic. So we know rice has had high levels of arsenic. So the puffed rice snacks, teething biscuits, those types of things. And the reason that I want to bring this up is because I know that those are easy. Those are really easy, like grab and go. I get that, but they're not necessary for kids. They're not necessary for teething. You can, put cooled cucumbers. Lots of things you can put in the freezer for your kids. And even like the rice cereals, like those. Excuse me. Um, I know those have been around forever, and like that's what I was told. My kids are my older kids are 25 and 33, and rice cereal, that's what everybody fed their kids. That was their first food, right? Sorry, I got a hold of my tea bag. um, so those are not necessary. Those I think we know now, more nutrient dense foods. Egg yolk is the perfect, perfect. A soft boiled egg yolk is the perfect first food for a baby. I highly recommend, if you don't have Nourishing Traditions, that was, the first book that was like my first aha moment book, like 20 years ago. And then Dr. Cowan, and I'll find a link to his book as well. He has a baby's book. I wish I had it down here, but it's upstairs. He has a baby book, so that has a ton of really nutrient dense foods to feed babies. And again, egg yolk is such a fantastic first baby food. Eggs are just, they're a superfood to me. Like, they just really are. The yolks are really high in choline, so that's just like brain food. So, anyways, they still don't have any. They say that they have testing, but I'm just going to read from from this article. So to this day, baby foods containing toxic heavy metals bear no label or warning to parents. Manufacturers are free to test only ingredients, or for the vast majority of baby foods to conduct no testing at all. So they are not required to test at all. So this is really what I tell my clients. And if you follow me at all, you've heard me say over and over, you really need to be your own advocate, because these huge conglomerates, these huge, big pharma, all the things out there right now, big pharma, big ag, they are in it for what lines their pockets. And unfortunately, it seems like a lot of them rest easy at night, because again, they knowingly sold these products to babies. I'm not really sure how low you can go beneath that. I mean, like, really? These are chemicals that we know, heavy metals that we know can cause cancer. Some of the, and they knowingly sold these. So be your own advocate. Always make sure that you are researching as much as possible. If you have little ones and you have questions about any foods, just message me. Like, please message. Some of the foods, again, were the puffed rice, which those are not nutrient dense. Kids do not need those. Like, oh my God, they taste terrible. So they're just of the rice cakes. I remember those back in the 80s, 90s. Never a big fan of those. Empty carbs in my book. Teething biscuit, those things, also sweet potatoes, so conventional sweet potatoes. We know, things that are grown underground that get those systemic pesticides. Those are a big no-no, especially for babies. What else? What else was in this article? There's a lot of stuff. Again, I'm gonna link to it. And so it's just really disappointing. It's disappointing that even companies who are selling, a lot of us believe, like, if it says organic, we think a lot of us, like, we feed our kids the healthiest foods that we possibly can, but maybe we're going on a trip. And so we're like, oh, okay, I'm going to get this, Earth's Best organic baby food. You can't even trust that. So super disappointing. Again, just be your own advocate. Babies can eat regular food. You just need to know what food is right for their age and as they're developing. But they don't need special foods. They don't need rice crackers. They don't need teething biscuits. They just don't need these things. So I just encourage you to, have more of an, they're going to have more. Teach your kids to eat the foods that you're eating. It's going to help them in the long term, because I don't know. Bland baby foods, I guess. But I think it just serves them better in the long term. Have a fantastic weekend. Sorry, my Facebook is kind of going crazy right now. So anyhow, hope that's helpful. Read through the article if you're interested, and I will see you guys. And again, any questions, let me know.